Guy asks, will the Rebellion be able to steal a Superstar Destroyer? The Rebellion may be able to steal a Superstar Destroyer in an appropriate galactic conquest with story points that allow that to happen. But it would probably be something that requires a very specific mission, because Superstar Destroyers in Phoenix Rising are so powerful, they take up the entire fleet cap, and you cannot bring anything else in with them.
And I feel like for the Empire, if the Rebels were to steal an SSD, it would probably sink your economy.
Haha. I do want to look into adding maintenance for units in Phoenix Rising, because currently the economy is a bit easy in some cases. But I think when people play some of the other sandbox GCs where you start out with like 5 planets, they'll realize that the economy is actually not quite as easy as it looks from Skyhook.
Yeah, when units cost like 50,000 credits for, I think it was a Providence that was 50,000 credits that we just saw, then 400,000 is not that much.
No, it's just it looks like big numbers. So. And yes, Captain Skychaser, if you like, one of the bonuses in Phoenix Rising is if you really love certain ships, you can upgrade them all the way, and you can have your Providence Mark IVs and your Recusant Mark VIs, and make your own CIS ship fleet, and just go ham.
And before we get into this battle, Cody was asking what the thickness of the line signifies. It signifies specifically, Code, that the funny, fluffy things are hidden.
Yes, that's one of the many benefits of the thick lines, but they also specify the amount of money and the speed of the hyperroutes that are connecting the planets. So, for example, Columex is on the Polemian trade route, I believe, so it has one of the fastest hyperlanes connecting it to the core. So planets on thicker hyperlanes, you really want to fortify them as much as possible, because they can be attacked immediately. Quite often they can be attacked with almost no warning. You know, they'll say, oh, there's a fleet, and then it attacks. Just like when you were attacked at Tucana.
So SSDs are sitting... Well, you have to take into account that everything has a full cannon armament in Phoenix Rising. So even though SSDs are alone, they have a lot of weapons.
We've secured.
They have 4,000, and you know, they have, I think we have a lot more than 144 fighters in them. They have like 50 or 100 fighter squadrons. So they are effectively self-escorting. Quite easily self-escorting.
This is a nice map.
Thank you. This is one of the ones I designed.
We've lost a build pad.
Enemy unit sighted.
It ends up getting used for a lot of trade planets.
Will do.
There goes one PX-10.
Up,
I believe we do have what is...
Ready, sir.
I'm going to call him a PX-10 fetishist in the server. But
he does love them. They're fun little vehicles. They're really nice to squash infantry with as the Empire and deal with independence. But once you're dealing with like later game Rebellion tanks, they're basically worthless. I like how you're sending the Starcom pilots in with their pistols.
Gotta delay the PX-10s because they don't want to drive over us.
Awaiting orders.
They were heading this way because I was sending them towards the landing pad, but then the Imperials found us faster than I'd hoped. It's almost like they were able to see us the whole time. How many episodes are we doing this? Basically, however many it takes to finish it.
Roaming run available.
What the? What were you about to say?
Oh, nothing.
Waiting order. Ready for attack. I copy, sir.
What was the Force Lightning sound there?
Copy.
Oh, that will be the PX-10A has a self-repair ability, and that currently uses the Force Lightning. I need to change that audio. That it shouldn't have to play like for everybody to hear. It should just be only for the Imperial player to hear sound. I need to change the sound setting basically. But that's when the PX-10s are self-repairing. We have a little self-repair kit on board.
Okay. Corey, you think you'll put some of the Imperial vehicles that are in PR in ICW? I'm sure at some point we'll start making assets for some of these guys, but...
I think the PX-10 would be a fun Warlord unit, definitely.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense for the Outer Rim Warlords. And it's a pretty easy one to model, because I'd love to give you the models we have, but they weren't. The guy who produced them is no longer in contact, so I can't get the permissions.
I have I also made a Firehawk model. I've got some old models for a lot of this stuff, and they're honestly not super complicated little guys. But so I'm sure at some point we will. But with TR, don't want to go too far into TR for a PR stream. But we've got more of a
since
focus
I developed
stuff.
both mods, I feel I can. I'm okay.
Oh, you'll allow it?
I'll allow it. Yeah.
Okay. But
I
yeah,
mean, I've got to
so,
be able to steal some of your vehicles at some point, right?
right.
Could really use the IDT, the ATPT, and the ATTE to really bulk out the Imperial vehicle roster.
I'd say wait on the ATTE until we can fix the animation issues.
Yes.
Like I posted
yes, that'd be nice.
I posted a video of the original animations and they're so nice, and then they were done in Maya, so then getting them into 3ds Max 9, like they were done in Maya 2015 or something, so look nice in there, then import into Max 2000 or Max 9, it's like, okay, well this is not working.
Yeah, I think what we need to give a go with
Blender.
Blender Exporter. Yeah, because that is full featured now. It does shadows, so it should be able to do it. I think it might even be able to do stealth meshes, but we'll see. We'll have to check it.
Choose your reinforcements.
Let's move out.
Alright, so I think this is going to be our next landing zone we get to.
Ready.
So let's send a free runner up there. I don't think they have too much here.
No, Columex is pretty lightly defended. They just have a number of structures mostly, so you'll just have to deal with a few spawn stuff.
Yes, Commander.
Yeah,
Right away.
I think if they had too much more, they'd have sent it in with some of the PX-10s, but
Moving out.
It looks like the infantry are all just hiding out in the improvised garrison buildings,
hmm.
which can
And-
hold a lot of people. You
yeah.
can put a lot of people in these structures.
Ready.
But they don't have very much armor because they're civilians, so if you fill them with infantry, the infantry will just get kicked out very quickly.
Heading to coordinates.
The microtank used only in Imperial Sourcebook and Glove of Darth Vader.
I think it shows up in a couple of other sources, like a bunch of RPG books, probably, and RPG adventures, but it was chosen because the Empire needed a light cavalry, basically, that wasn't just a walker. We divide our ground units in PR by locomotion type, so the walker set for the Empire was already very solid from base Empire at War, but they lacked trackers, they lacked vehicles with tracks, and they lacked hover tanks for the most part. I mean, they have the 2M, but we didn't like the 2M, so replaced it with a Firehawk effectively.
We've secured a landing zone.
Form up. Right away. Target in range.
Oh, here's stuff.
Bombardment cancelled.
Yeah, the free runner turrets I need to look into because they sometimes stop firing, and I don't know why. They get a bit confused, I think, and point the wrong direction.
Well, that's helpful.
Moving to target. I have
Looks like we found more of their stuff.
Copy that. All weapons loaded.
Alright, so I'll grab in some of our artillery.
Right away.
Here's some of the deployables.
Destroyed.
Yes, sir.
And...
Choose your reinforcements.
Adjusting Navicomputer.
Reinforcements cancelled.
Destination set. Engines primed. Copy. All out. Covering fire.
Unit
Okay, you can just drive over that. I think we did lose a lot of the free runners there.
T4B ready. I copy.
It's a shame they're some of the best vehicles for the rebels.
Let's go.
I'm gonna try to
Keep going.
float this guy into some relative amount of... No, he's done.
All out troops. Fire.
Maybe.
Open fire.
Alright,
Reporting.
you guys can probably head
Torpedo
over
launcher
here.
mobile, sir.
Look, if I put
Ready.
the MPTLs right
Initiating ground
there,
assault.
they'll be able to shoot into this area here. Yeah.
Probably. They have pretty decent range. Especially when these are because these are deployable, they get a deployed range bonus, so I believe they get like 20% or 50% extra range over the base range of the weapon.
Yes, sir.
So they have much better range than the non-deployable ones.
Armored transport ready.
Target acquired.
That Freerunner
Artillery
is
online.
quite injured.
Torpedoes
Ready.
online.
Acknowledged.
Unit
Yes, Commander.
destroyed.
Juggernauts are hitting
I
hard.
copy. Enemy sighted.
Yeah, Juggernauts are very, very powerful. It's like when you build Juggernauts with the canonical armor, you wonder why the Empire stopped using them, basically, because they're very powerful.
Keep going.
No legs, really.
Basic, but they're not scary enough. Basically, is the standard excuse the Empire gives for not using something.
Bombing
Commander.
run available.
Form up.
Unit
Over there.
destroyed. Unit
Bombers at the ready.
destroyed. Unit
What
destroyed.
a quagmire.
Unit
Gold Squadron
destroyed.
commencing attack.
T4B mobile. Armor ready. Advance.
Well, once you're committed, you're committed.
Destroyed.
Visual contact. Awaiting order. Moving into position.
There's very few vehicles that can get in and out of a situation extremely quickly.
Attacking.
Especially the rebels have quite a few of the faster vehicles, but you have not got them deployed right now.
Fire at will.
Unit destroyed.
So like the little arrows are actually quite quick. They're pretty rapid. They can scoot around and turn around pretty quick. But the T2s and the T4s are quite cumbersome.
I copy.
I don't know that they'd necessarily, the arrows would be able to...
Destroyed.
I mean, they wouldn't do
Deal
much
with
against
this.
Juggernauts, no.
Heading out.
They can deal with the infantry and
this is...
We can't hold out any longer. All forces retreat.
Can't get past these juggernauts right now.
you can build Juggernauts yourself as the rebels, by the way. So that's something you might want to do.
Yeah, I'll need to look into our ground stuff. So we lost the free runners, which is unfortunate. But I think for now, I'm just gonna regret doing this, but I'll shift that over to Akbar's fleet.
At least you took out the shield generator, so
Moving
Yay.
to coordinates.
Tactical battle.
We do have more free runners there, but before we get into this, I'm gonna just check what we do have available right now on the ground. The heavy tracker. I think this has sensor ping. Yes.
your favorite ability.
Unit in
Vision
production.
is the most important thing.
I don't disagree. And also, this one conveniently can deploy to create a new landing zone any way you want.
That's helpful.
We're probably going to do the same thing when I add in the PX4 mobile command center. That will have a similar ability, I expect, with the Empire. So you can just drive up and set up a landing zone right outside the enemy base if you want.
Yeah, we used to have that in TR without the deployed part. I was just adding random tags to different stuff in XML. So I think there's some screenshots where I put like a skirmish starbase spawn on weakened enemy. So there would just be CR90s that fly around deploying giant rebel starbases.
Amazing. I think like the only weird thing about the heavy tracker is that when you do deploy the landing zone, it can leave like the landing zone decal behind and some of the weird things like that. But I don't really care about that, like, to be honest, because the ability is too cool to get rid of. And it's just too useful. It makes ground combat a lot more interesting. Definitely,
Yeah.
I'd like to add some more options along those lines. Maybe an infantry command unit or give it to the command unit infantry so that they can act as a landing zone to bring
Choose your
troops in
reinforcements.
on themselves. Would make them a lot more interesting to use. Because currently a lot of commanders, you just kind of want to hide them in a vehicle or hide them in a building and just use their bonus because they're kind of weak because they just got pistols.
Affirmative.
Because that's what commanders are armed with most of the time.
Right away. On my way.
I want to keep the recusant back a bit, but it wants to spin around in order to do that.
Responding.
Yeah, well, you see, now the wonderful thing about having the green line on is you can truly see the wonderful
Pathfinding at work.
the wonderful power of the EAW pathfinding. But at least you can react to it a bit. That's one of the other pluses of slowing ground vehicles down a lot. It does help with pathfinding to a certain extent because you can react to them doing stupid things,
Switch the attack
and they will
pattern.
stop, and then you can deal with it. Sometimes, if you're lucky,
We
if the
got
wind
'em.
blows in the right
Send
direction, that kind of
reinforcements.
thing.
Yeah. Well, looks like we scared him off.
Yeah, the AI is definitely a lot more retreat happy in Phoenix Rising than maybe I'd like them to be. But once you do get a fleet-on-fleet engagement, it's a real solid engagement.
I think we've well, a lot of their ISDs and stuff that started here went off to conquer other lands. We destroyed one of them, so
Yeah, and the rest I think are probably just at Quirmia.
Tactical battle.
And this way, you don't have to go beat up a space colony. That's partly why I increased the retreat likelihood. It's so that you don't have to sit there beating up on the space colony for
yeah.
hours.
I mean, really, they're not going to get anything out of staying, and then no one wants to risk any weird losses not a resolve, so
I think hopefully this attack isn't like the attack that happened where you had to just sit there and watch the ATSD stomp around for half an hour. You might be able to also resolve it a bit quicker at least. Oh, there is on this map in the bottom left-hand corner there is a capturable light vehicle factory that spawns AATs.
AATs? Okay.
No, AATs, the armored assault tank from the Clone Wars. They are very, very powerful.
From the Clone Wars, you say?
Yes.
Roger. Location confirmed.
And we all know how much everybody loves Clone Wars.
Moving into
It's
position.
the only era that matters.
So Zero is asking if the Rebellion will be able to scavenge battle droids from planets like Braxis and Geonosis. Yes, there is a number of planets actually which will have droid factories buildable, and I believe I actually activated them in the demo. You can build droid factories as the Empire on Geonosis and build battle droids of various kinds.
Uh-oh.
If you want to go full Clone Wars, I believe one of the guys doing some of the testing literally just made a droid army for Vader to command.
Yes, sir. Reporting.
Oh, that's just mean.
Heading out.
I mean, I know he's a murderous psychopath, but, you know.
Commander.
We've secured a build pad. Turret construction.
It looks like your two guys have made it to
Take
capture
4
the
of them.
building.
Fall out.
Thankfully, ATSDs are like the one vehicle that anti-vehicle turrets are actually okay against.
Reporting.
Okay, is there another set
Barracks
of
destroyed.
Let's move out.
build pads anywhere here?
I think there might be some, but I don't know if you can find them very easily.
Well, I really only
Ready for
care about this
action.
area because they're
Keep
already
going.
here, but
Ready.
Give me a target. Entering battlefield. Cantorus unit on point now.
Yes, sir. This way.
Yeah, I think I need to increase the number of build pads on this map in particular. It's one of the skirmish maps I adapted, and I think it had a bunch of build pads that would default
Give me a target.
to one faction,
Position Alpha.
so that they were there for like the
successfully
faction-based build pads, so they probably need to be adjusted to be actually set up properly.
Roger. Moving out.
But these are the kind of stupid little bugs that the beta
We're on
will help
station and ready
people
to
with.
fire.
And there should be 2 AATs.
No, it,
Huh,
one
just
decided it didn't want to come, I guess.
I guess I might have nerfed that actually because the AAT is very powerful.
We're on station and ready to fire.
Base is under attack.
Because it has the full loadout of heavy laser cannon, blaster cannons, mass drivers.
Roger that. Roger.
Orders understood. Standing by.
Construction
We're an
complete.
assault tank, not a boat.
Form up. Take cover. Location confirmed.
Can you defend this planet with the one AAT?
That's the question.
Where's my target? Awaiting orders.
There's a bunch of stormtroopers over here still somewhere. Yeah, they're going to be focusing on the
Mass
building.
drivers activated.
So
We've
I
secured
think...
a build
I don't know if
pad.
they're going to switch their priority after that, but...
Turret constructing.
I copy, sir. Commencing assault now.
It is quite a long view range, so already my favorite unit.
Attacking enemy positions now.
Well, the rain is part of the issue. When the rain stops, you'll get a lot better vision.
Construction
Copy.
complete.
Moving into position.
Because weather effects, we have a lot of emphasis on weather effects in ground combat as well,
Attack.
so
Mhm.
they have quite a strong
I
impact
copy.
on
Affirmative.
combat effectiveness.
Reporting. Order acknowledged. Coordinates received. Right away.
Barracks
Assault tank
destroyed.
reporting for duty.
Commander. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Commander. Heading out.
It's okay. It's okay, Code User.
Where do you want me to hit?
The heavy tracker is
Mass
basically a
drivers
mobile
loaded and ready
sensor
for
array.
action. Attacking. Continuing the attack.
Building started.
Awaiting your orders.
I think
Ready
as long
to
as they
relay
refuse
orders
to
now.
attack,
Weapon systems
good.
active. Cantorus
The
chamber
ATST
ready.
seems a little confused there.
Focusing in
It's
on
like,
hard
I kind of want to
target
walk
now.
away, but I kind of don't.
Moving at full speed now.
As long as you stay out of range of their concussion grenade launchers, they can't really do any damage to the AAT's armor.
Firing all
It has,
systems.
I think, 10 vehicle armor,
Construction
because
complete.
it's, you know, a tank.
We've secured a build pad.
we're gonna win the battle but have nothing on the surface.
It'll be
Turret
perfect.
constructing.
They'll just
Turret
immediately invade
constructing.
again and take it.
Almost there.
But at least I'll have
We'll be
them.
there in
Well,
a few
actually, no,
seconds.
because this is all their units and we're blockading their planet. So
Right away.
Oh, true, yeah, you should be fine.
Enemy position located.
Construction complete.
there is still a bunch of
Construction
infantry out
complete.
somewhere. So
Give me a target.
all right. Yeah, it's
Starfight
running
is...
Moving out. Heading out,
So
sir.
Corey
Moving
B-Man
to those
Plays is
coordinates now.
suggesting
Targeting systems
Starfighters as
online.
air units.
Move
That's
order
not something
received and
I'm
acted
interested
on.
in for Phoenix Rising. We already have a large number of quite powerful
Let's go.
Reporting.
air-to-air, air-to-ground units
Let's move out.
in the Talon, the V-Wing, the
Ready for
Snowspeeder,
fire.
and the K-222 Aero Interceptor, and there's going to be another couple coming for the CSA because they tend to have a lot of that kind of
Ready
thing.
for action.
But
Let's go.
they're
Keep going.
too powerful, basically, on ground, especially in Phoenix Rising.
Ready.
Like, if you go for cannon armaments,
We're on station and ready
they
to
are
fire.
exceedingly powerful.
This way. Entering
They
battlefield.
will just pretty much vaporize any ground vehicles quite quickly.
Over there.
all right. I think that might have been the last
Cantorus unit
ATST.
on point now.
I think so, yeah, because there's
Position
8
Alpha
per
successfully
platoon.
reached. We're an assault tank, not a boat.
And it looks like the infantry are running away in that direction, so you should be able to catch them.
Now. Mass drivers activated. Commencing assault now. Almost there.
I'm gonna let them come into the turret a little bit.
We'll be there in a few seconds. Right away.
Nope. They say nope.
Moving out. Heading
I
out,
think
sir.
infantry are one of the few things that I
Moving
actually
to
have
those
kite
coordinates
still
now.
as an AI behavior
Enemy positions
because
now. Move
they're so
order
fragile.
received
It
and
makes
acted
sense for
on.
them to run
Let's
away,
go.
and they can turn around very rapidly.
Mass drivers loaded and ready for action. Attacking. Keep going. Continuing the attack. Weapon systems active.
I do want to look into adding possibly a timed fog of war reveal on land, so that after a certain amount of time the fog will reveal regardless of what you have,
Over there.
and regardless of whether the AI thinks it should reveal. Currently, the AI should probably be
Constructing.
considering itself as
Constructing.
outgunned, but there we go. Okay, now they're trying to retreat. So
All right. So I think
Tactical battle
Oh.
imminent.
all the ground units are here. I wanted to send all the ground units from Columex up to Rudring and Raxus because it seems like they'll be an easier fight for us. I don't know if this is just a hidden land base or what, but well, ISD.
yeah, so in terms of being able to see land bases in Phoenix Rising, different factions have different abilities. So the Empire can only see a land base if it's level 3, I think, and the Rebels can see it when it's level 1 or 2. I forget exactly, but you can tune that per faction.
Hopefully they only have the one ISD. I don't know if we'd even... No, I took away the independence type, so...
It shouldn't be a huge fleet, but hard AI tends to send larger fleets proportionally. So
Yeah, I think I'll just have to retreat because I think the only thing we really have here is the Liberty.
yeah, the Liberty cannot stand up to even ISD-1. You need at least 2 of them.
Oh, that was quite a few ships down there, so let's leave. I hope it goes southeast, maybe? Because this might be a bad thing.
Incoming.
You're lucky the Empire isn't building interdictors yet.
Calculating jump to light speed.
We're too close.
All right. It did go the direction I wanted it to.
Tactical battle
Hooray.
imminent.
I mean, Yavin is kind of open now, but
Station ready.
Yeah,
Order acknowledged.
but I'm
Tactical
hoping
battle imminent.
once we take out Rudrig and Raxus, we can just go back down that way and actually take Columex once we have a bit more on ground.
it feels like the Empire is just running its Star Destroyers around, cleaning you out of space around various planets.
I was really hoping that Columex invasion wouldn't have failed. That would have been helpful, but
Yeah, you
It
really,
did.
in Skyhook, the Rebels have a very, very weak starting position in terms of their initial forces. You really have to build stuff up to get proper units set up and so on. And that takes time and so on. It's only like 10 weeks in already, and
yeah,
which is nothing in Phoenix Rising terms. It takes like that long to build a couple of Star Destroyers. So
Weapons charged. Weapons operational.
Order acknowledged.
Got him now.
all right. We haven't really lost too many units, but we've lost a few battles just because of trying to get our starting forces organized. I really just want to secure this sector, and then
Copy
I think
that.
we'll have a good
Requesting backup.
base to work out of.
Destination
it's basically a lot of
acknowledged.
cat and mouse. It's the opposite side of what happened when you were playing as the Empire, where you were chasing the Rebels around.
Yeah,
Ready. On calamari cruiser here.
Is there a projected release date for 2.0? Not yet. The projected release date is when it's done, when I have the time, because I'm one guy working on the mod. So sadly, it takes a while. He's asking if Captain Skychaser is asking, do the Rebels not get the special Providence Rebel 1 ship? Technically, they do. The Providence Mark III in the fleet that Corey has currently is meant to represent Rebel 1. However, we don't have a specific model for it yet, and probably will add a specific model at some point.
Target.
is it just this ISD? I think there's something behind it, but it seems like it's just the one. Alright. Stop there if you can.
Copy. Fire at will.
Bombers reporting in. Moving to attack position.
I copy.
Alright, yeah.
I copy.
There's probably just them shuffling their fleets around and having
Yeah.
to bump.
This one on me. Blasted nerf herders.
Yeah, because this is where I just had the pilots, so they killed those, and then I invaded. This is technically me attacking, I think.
Let's do some damage.
Or at least they got there after, but
Yeah, well, it got confused.
they didn't know this fleet would be here.
No, because it looks like they had actually they had some transports.
I need to break off.
Yes, sir.
Roger that. Responding. I copy, sir. Y-wing here.
Well, we'd already taken the space over this planet, Corey,
Attack.
so wasn't really defending anything.
We're here. Enemies incoming. Enemy
Yeah,
target
and you will
sighted.
find that in the Sandbox Galactic Conquest, where you're starting out with small fleets, a single ISD is not to be messed with. Like in the Hut Space GC, for example, you'll be lucky to ever be able to build an ISD
I've got him lined
because of the
up.
cost and investment involved. They are not minor things in Phoenix Rising. An ISD can be extremely powerful. The only reason it got vaporized here is because Corey had ships a good class larger than it with a huge supporting fleet. So
Right, that's another small hit to their economy, at least.
Lasers locked and ready. Fire at will.
Good luck building your Death Star, jerks.
Engage target.
Bring them on.
Did they start off constructing the Death Star, or is that?
it's something that the AI has to choose to do, and they will start building the Death Star at a random location, at one of 3 locations, and then ideally what will happen is as you complete the research conquest missions, it will tell you where the Death Star is being built. I need to actually make sure that the randomness is as random as it should be. Because it may be that it's not quite random right now, but it's should be pretty random.
Heading to coordinates.
Tactical battle imminent.
They really want to kill those pilots.
Telos. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I just want to get my fleet to, or my ground forces over there. Uh-huh.
Brandon's asking which GC, the normal one or the one that's light in brackets. What's the difference between them? The only difference is the starting forces numbers. And yes, Corey is currently playing on light. Otherwise, they're identical, but it's quite impressive how much difference the number of starting forces makes to performance.
Hopefully we'll be able to get this force over to Red Rig before...
You've got some very slow hyperlanes to go via, unfortunately.
Yeah. If we had Liana, that would be helpful, but Liana and Columex. But I was hoping we'd be able to take Red Rig, Raxus, Columex, and then Liana. I'd rather focus on the Imperial stuff than the independent stuff. But we are here, so let's see what we can do.
Nate is asking, are we planning to add Fractal Sponge's ships? Well, there are a number of Fractal Sponge designs that are effectively Legends canon that will probably get in the mod eventually, but most of them are just heavy Imperial ships, and the Empire doesn't really need more heavy ships in Phoenix Rising at this point. There's some later game stuff, some more battle cruisers they could use, but the scale of Phoenix Rising doesn't lend itself to that kind of fleet combat quite as well. If you want lots of Fractal Sponge ships, that's what Thrawn's Revenge is for to a certain extent.
Only the ones that have been adopted into canon. There are other mods that go more fractal crazy. Kumar, this is just me playing, and then Bob's here to just talk about the mod and give me helpful hints.
Right away, sir.
Such as this planet has a sensor array. Remember?
Yeah. No, don't worry. I know that one. I've been here before, and I have
You've been to Naboo before?
I have a sensor, so. Sky Chaser, he just a couple minutes ago he went over the Rebel 1 thing. The Providence that I have currently is meant to represent Rebel 1. They just don't have a specific model for it in at this point.
Yeah, I want to redo the Providence model we have as well. Currently it's just the Evil Jedi model with the hangars closed off, but I want to actually shorten it and make it more of the proper destroyer variant instead of the carrier destroyer variant size, which it is currently. And when I redo it, I can probably reduce the health on it and stuff to bring it more into a balance that should be a bit more reasonable. Currently it's pretty OP.
All weapons loaded.
I don't know how much they actually have here, but once I get over to that sensor array, then I'll know.
Ready to roll.
I do actually really recommend building some Juggernauts, just to use them as transports to move infantry around, if nothing else.
Roger.
Probably between episodes, I'll just go through the
available. We've secured a landing zone.
all the build queues and stuff and get stuff set up.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Roger that.
Because it's not super exciting to watch.
Yeah. That's part of why I was mostly sticking to the starting force and trying to get as much done as I could with that. Just for viewing purposes, I guess. Everything is shooting too low. There we go.
Awaiting orders. Moving into position.
Copy.
Alright, you guys can
I am
probably
British.
sit there. Oh, C0. Thanks for coming out. So actually the plan for this GC at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to stream it once a week and try to do about 2 episodes per stream. Which might go up or down depending on what the stream schedule for any given week is. So next Saturday, depending on whether I do the first 2.2 community match on Friday or Saturday, we'd either do the next Phoenix Rising episodes on one or the other.
Copy that. Form up. Moving to attack range.
Am I like right outside the range of that?
Yes, sir.
No, I think they're actually.
Oh, no,
No, we're good.
they just have very slow reload times.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, they might be just outside the range.
I wasn't sure if I'd seen
Somehow.
them shoot yet,
Copy. Order acknowledged.
and then I saw them go right for the turret, so I was afraid that I'd wasted my recharge.
Choose your
All right,
reinforcements.
so let's actually bring in some arrows. Just
Bombardment available.
Yeah, arrows are pretty good in this kind of situation where you just want to rush their base
Yes,
and
Commander.
wipe out some infantry.
Targeting
We've
enemy.
secured a
Target
build
in
pad.
range. Awaiting orders. Ready.
We've captured an abandoned sensor array.
my favorite voice line in this game.
Copy. Copy.
Which one's that?
I copy.
Capture an abandoned sensor array.
T2B. Keep going. Reporting. Fire.
Looks like they were trying to set it research because it's a university planet, which gives bonus to research. I could wax lyrical about all the planetary bonuses we have in this mod, but
Attacking. Yes, Commander.
I'm not sure how interesting that would be unless people are very interested in playing some very specific, setting up some very specific building options.
Targeting.
Bombing run
I think
available.
that's it.
Awaiting orders. Waiting your orders. We've got them on the run. Fire. Targets
Here we go.
locked.
There's Red Rig. Do I
System
want to?
control achieved.
So I think I'm just gonna send the fleet back over. We'll take out whatever they have on Raxus in space. Oh, which is nothing. So no, stupid computer. Stop it. Okay, so we can do the ground invasion of Raxus right now. And then they actually cleared the independence off of Quirmy, and I'm assuming they haven't had time to build anything up. So one of the first things we're going to be able to do next episode is probably move into Quirmy. I'm assuming that's where the ISD that just was at Raxus went. So we should be able to quickly take Quirmia and maybe even Liana. I'm assuming that's going to be a little more defended. But, yeah.
Cool. So, gonna take a break.
After the Raxus battle, I think we'll leave it there because that'll be about 2 45 to 50-minute episodes.
Sounds
and
good.
Pick up again on Friday or Saturday, depending on what goes on.
Invasion commencing.
Leia just looks so disappointed in this picture, like just questioning everything you're doing.
It's a pretty good picture for that reason, I think. Oh wow, they actually have Tarkin on Raxus. You're gonna be able to take out Tarkin. That's amazing.
Choose your reinforcements.
I copy.
Heading to coordinates.
Oh boy, you're taking out half the Imperial leadership
Coordinates
with this
received.
attack.
Reinforcements
how I do.
Cancelled.
Course
At
set.
maximum unit capacity.
Right away.
Ooh,
Yes,
heavy
sir.
vehicle or advanced vehicle factory. What do we get from
Heading
here?
out.
Swamp speeder ready.
It's
Pushing forward.
some more ATAPs, I believe.
Heading to coordinates. Engaging enemy. Right away.
I want to maybe look into giving the ATAP
We've
projectile
secured
gravity
abandoned
so that it
heavy
ends up being a
vehicle
bit more like an
factory.
actual artillery piece, and
Moving
maybe
out.
force it to deploy
Always ready, sir.
with the actual deployability instead of
Bombing run available.
so it ends up more like a small SPMAT.
All out.
I think that'd be cool.
Advanced vehicle factory destroyed. Let's go.
You don't really see them very often in Phoenix Rising, so making them a bit more interesting when you do see them would be nice.
Hmm.
Over there.
I think there was usually some
Moving.
stuff over here.
Enemy
Got a nice
forces
back
ahead.
way into the
Required.
base.
Course set. Assault in progress. Enemy
Perfect job for
sighted.
those rebel
Hostile.
speeders.
Changing course. Hit him hard. Copy. Computers locked on target.
Bombardment available.
Kumar's asking, what does Akbar get on the ground? Akbar gets to be a single Mon Calamari with a blaster pistol because he's an admiral, not a commando.
Heading
But
to coordinates.
honestly, that's part of the reason I intend to
Fire at will.
And back in
remove-
ships.
put them back in ships because the AI ends up dropping them on ground and makes them super easy to kill.
Roger that. Engaging enemy. Right away.
So swamp speeders, they're also actually surprisingly good against infantry. Well, maybe not too surprisingly, but they are quite good against infantry with their dual blaster cannons. Actually, arguably slightly better than the arrow, because the arrow has a single laser cannon, I think.
Fall out. Targeting.
Alright, so we got him coming over
Engaging target.
over the water if we
Ready for
can.
command, sir.
Bill, hurry up.
Awaiting orders.
They're unfortunately quite slow. They don't put much
Yeah.
speed in the name speeder.
Moving into position.
I copy.
They can barely run
Gold
down
Squadron
infantry.
commencing attack.
Firing. Awaiting your orders.
Gold Squadron commencing
Move
attack.
out.
I just want to make sure they path
Roger
properly
that.
over the water, because if you just tell them to go straight into the
I've got my
base, they'll
approach
usually
vector.
want to go over a land path, which is one of the
Yeah,
annoying things
yeah.
about pathfinding in EAW. That always confuses me a little.
We'll lead the assault.
Like, why
It's
make
like, yes,
them able
this-
to go over if they're not going to take advantage of that?
Fire.
I think literally the only units that really consistently go over all terrain are air speeders. Everything
Target
else
acquired.
gets very upset, even
Yeah.
if it can go over other terrain types.
Form up.
The Y-wing bombers were on. The bombardier was sleeping, I think.
Assault in progress.
They had attacked the back to cannon, or the back to tank over here. Back to cannon would be great.
Right. Back to. Oh wow.
So they,
Okay.
so
You
they
April
hadn't
Fools.
actually healed.
Keep going.
They hadn't actually reloaded by the time they got to the barracks, which was
Form up. This way.
not
Yeah.
their optimal use case, I don't think.
I think I might look into making it so the bombers don't. They just have a continual stream of warheads across the entire map instead of running out of ammo, because
Moving.
it's slightly disheartening for that to happen. I mean, they recharge pretty quickly, so it's not the end of the world, but still, they could do with being a little more impactful. Especially for the rebels,
I didn't get that.
because they don't
Repeat
have the
the order.
bombardment.
Fire at will.
As not very
Yes,
effective
Commander.
bombardment.
Course set.
This little company.
Changing course. Pushing forward.
I'm gonna at least move
Heading
our
to
stuff down
coordinates.
here so that when these guys follow us, we'll have a more clear shot at them, and then we can also take out barracks.
Systems operational.
Commander.
Here, you guys help them.
Ready for command, sir.
Watching your video, I am really glad that I added the infantry
Hit him
icons.
hard.
Yeah.
It makes things so much better to watch, let alone play. So
I wouldn't even have noticed these guys if they were just up by the barracks. And
In attack position.
I mean, I would have assumed my troops were shooting at something,
Open
but
fire.
Unit destroyed.
I think we're mostly shooting over their heads. There we go.
yeah, it's the weather, the rain. I actually decreased the inaccuracy penalty due to
Reporting.
rain, but it's still pretty
We
brutal.
lost
Like
the
lasers are
pad.
pretty bad in the rain.
Orders understood.
Unit destroyed.
Waiting your orders. Attack that target. Moving out.
Unit destroyed.
That's a-
Attacking target.
Bombing run
Oh
available.
yeah, it is.
Reporting. Computers locked on target.
Okay, no more back to
Commander.
cannons.
We are
can-
ready and waiting.
Computers locked on target.
The other thing you can't sleep on is that the bombing runs do reveal as they go by, which is
Always ready, sir. Fire at will.
very important.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty useful
They won't
part of
expect
their
us.
I can cover you.
part of their ability is to just scan the battlefield. And it's actually ridiculous when you do have a commander who gives the fog of war boost that you will just reveal the entire map, at least at least a little bit, like across their path. You'll reveal almost the entire map. That's always fun.
Yes, Commander.
I'm gonna get one of these guys to go
Let's move
back
out.
for that.
Form up. Targeting.
We've secured a build pad.
You're lucky they didn't have the shock troopers.
Firing. Fire. All out. Let's move out.
Follow those guys first.
We've
Target
secured
acquired.
a landing zone.
That's another thing you want to queue up for
Reinforcements.
anti-vehicle duty is a bunch of
Heading to
vanguards.
coordinates.
Vanguards are very good.
Course set.
That was a lucky time to land stuff.
Bombing
Waiting
run
orders.
available.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Bombing
going.
run
Oh yeah, I can't see
cancelled.
that.
Weapons loaded.
Copy. This way. Over there. Moving. Assault
Come on,
in
rain,
progress.
go away.
Enemy sighted.
I think Raxus rains all the time.
Hostiles.
No, it wasn't raining when we got here.
Oh, okay.
There we go. All right, so we
control
are
achieved.
gonna leave it there for today, but we got a bit done. We got Rodrig and Raxus. We took Renvar, I believe, and we lost at Columex. But in the next episode, I'm gonna go for Quirmia. We're gonna try to secure the rest of this whole sector here, and then we'll be able to potentially go and help over here if we can stop them before they get to, what is this planet called? Doniphan?
Yeah, you could maybe stop
rescue
them
our
with Doniphan if
freighters.
you're lucky.
There is the CSA planets back here, but we have that extra fleet here too. So once we've got Liana, we can move these guys out of the corporate sector and we'll have an extra liberty if nothing else. But that is going to do it for today. So thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me, Bob.
No problem. It was great to be here.
And yeah, so I'll put up the stream schedule, or I'll schedule the stream before we actually do it. But it'll probably be either Friday or Saturday next week. So that is going to do it for now. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.